Sidney William Ware VC was a British recipient of the Victoria Cross, the highest and most prestigious award for gallantry in the face of the enemy that can be awarded to British and Commonwealth forces. Details. Corporal Sidney William Ware VC was born in November 1892 at Watcombe in the parish of Winterbourne, Whitechurch, Dorset. He was educated at the Church of England Boys' School, Whitchurch. He enlisted into the British Army on the 29th of November 1911. He served with the 1st Battalion, the Seaforth Highlanders, and was with his battalion at Agra in India at the start of the First World War in 1914. His battalion, which was part of Rcdarchive Brigade of the 7th Division, immediately returned to Europe with the Indian Expeditionary Force and landed in France in October, where it was in action almost immediately. Corporal Ware was wounded in November, and after 10 days' leave on discharge from hospital, he returned to France. His battalion remained with the same brigade, now retitled the 19th Brigade, still part of the 7th Division. With it he was sent to Mesopotamia. Here he was again wounded in January 1916, before returning to duty a few months later. It was then that he won his Victoria Cross on the 6th of April 1916. During an engagement when the order was given to withdraw to the safety of a communications trench, Corporal Ware, whose cool gallantry had been very marked during the advance, was one of the few men remaining unwounded. He then picked up a wounded man and carried him some 200 yards to cover, and then returned for many others, moving to and fro under very heavy fire for more than 2 hours, until he had brought in all of the wounded and was completely exhausted. However, although he was not injured on this occasion, he was not to be presented with his Victoria Cross as, a few days later, on the 10th of April, he was seriously wounded and brought back to the Persian Gulf. He died at the Rawalpindi Hospital on the 16th of April and was buried in the Imara War Cemetery in Iraq. He was always a very steady and trustworthy man who was very fond of football and reading. He was one of 8 brothers of a family of 13, 4 of whom served in the First World War and 1 in the Second, though unfortunately 2 others were also killed in action: Sergeant A.C. Ware, Dorset Regiment, on the 1st of July 1916, and Private A. Ware, Wiltshire Regiment, on the 11th of March 1915. The medal, his Victoria Cross, is displayed at the Highlanders Museum, Fort George, Inverness-shire, Scotland.